Okay, so for our today's tutorial session, we are going to continue to discuss on chapter 5, okay, which is on hormonal and nervous communication. Still on part A, so we are going to continue to discuss question 20, okay, 20 until the end of part A. Okay, so can the first person please, Wan Muhammad Adli, you read the question, you give us the answer, and you explain a bit on why you choose the answer.
For question 20, which of the following statement is not correct about the action of lipid soluble hormone? I choose D.
Okay.
I'm not really sure about this question, madam.
Why are you not sure on this question? If you look at, okay, let's look at the question. Which of the following statement is not correct about the action of lipid soluble hormone? What do you understand by the lipid soluble hormone? What is a lipid soluble hormone? Adli? Apa tu lipid soluble hormone? Dah buat soalan kan? So macam mana boleh dapat jawapan D tu? Adli, can you call out one of your friends' name to help you in answering this question? To explain on what is lipid soluble hormone.
Razin.
Okay, Razin.
Apa yang saya faham,
Hmm.
lipid soluble ni dia uh, dia tak boleh non water soluble, lepas tu need protein transport to travel in blood vessel, lepas tu dia boleh diffuse through membrane plasma to bind with the receptor in the nucleus. Itu
Ataupun cytoplasm kan? Okay, so kenapa jawapan dia D? Not explaining on the lipid soluble hormone. For this statement, it refers to which type of hormone for statement D? Hormone that binds with G protein couple receptor on the plasma membrane. Dia statement D ni betul. Cuma dia salah untuk soalan yang diberikan. Statement dia betul. Cuma dia untuk what type of hormone?
water soluble
Okay. Water
hormone.
soluble hormone. Okay. Statement A, B, C, D dah betul. It explains on the mechanism of lipid soluble hormone. So lipid soluble hormone, why do we call the hormone as lipid soluble hormone? One, because it is made up of steroid. Okay, steroid. Such as, for example, sex hormone, testosterone, estrogen, progesterone. Okay, and then also another type of hormone which is cortisol, which is the hormone produced by the adrenal cortex. Okay, adrenal cortex, which is the cortisol. Okay, mineralocorticoids and also glucocorticoids. Okay, so those are lipid soluble hormones. So it is made up of steroids, and because it is made up of steroids, it is lipid, so it cannot travel freely in the bloodstream, so it needs to bind to a carrier protein or transport protein. Statement B ni, you can slash sama ada carrier protein or transport protein in order for the hormone to be able to be transported in your blood circulation until it reaches the target organ. Okay, so once the hormone reaches the target organ with the receptor for that specific hormone, the hormone then will detached from the carrier protein, dan dia akan masuk dalam target cell. Okay, dia akan masuk. So that is another characteristics of lipid soluble. It can diffuse across the phospholipid bilayer of the plasma membrane. Plasma membrane of cell, it is made up of phospholipid bilayer. Phospholipid is lipid, right? So that's why the hormone can diffuse through the plasma membrane of cell and enters into the target cell and bind to the receptor for the hormone. So the receptor can either be located in the cytoplasm or in the nucleus of the target cell. So the binding of the hormone with the receptor, it produces hormone receptor complex. So this hormone receptor complex, if it forms in the cytoplasm, it will enter into the nucleus. Tapi kalau reseptor tu dah memang ada dalam nucleus, dia dah memang sedia ada lah kan. So yang penting dia form hormone receptor complex that will bind to specific region, okay, specific region along the DNA, okay, or DNA or a gene, okay, inside the nucleus, okay. So the binding of this hormone receptor complex to specific gene in the DNA will activate or repress, okay, activate or repress the expression of the gene, okay, in that cell. Okay, so that is the effects of lipid soluble hormone. Okay, so kalau berbanding dengan water soluble hormone, why is it called as water soluble hormone? Because most of it is made up of either amine or protein, okay, or peptide. Tapi amine ada juga yang lipid soluble. So you have to differentiate which hormone that is amine, that is lipid soluble, which hormone that is amine, that is water soluble. Ada amine yang lipid soluble, ada amine yang water soluble hormone. So you just refer to the to your notes. Kan, kat sini dia dah bagi dah all the hormones and then the chemical class of the hormones. Okay, so jap. In this slide, okay, so you have all the hormones, and then the hormones is also given in the table the chemical class, the composition for the hormone that you have to know. Which hormone is protein, which hormone is amine, which hormone is lipid soluble. So soalan dia boleh bagi contohnya, okay, prolactin, give the mechanism of action for the hormone prolactin. Dia tak ada pun bagi keyword water soluble ke lipid soluble kat situ kan. So you have to know, okay, prolactin ni adalah protein hormone. So because it is protein hormone, it is water soluble. Because it is water soluble, so dia akan carry out signal transduction mechanism. Okay, where for the water soluble hormone, the receptor berbanding dengan lipid soluble, the receptor is located at the plasma membrane of the target cell. Okay, so the binding of the hormone with the receptor at the plasma membrane of the target cell will trigger signal transduction reaction. Okay, a series of chemical reaction to occur which involve the activation of several enzymes, okay, within the cell. That is the difference between water soluble and lipid soluble. Water soluble hormone, okay, it cannot enter into the cell. Okay, macam lipid soluble, it only binds to receptor located at the plasma membrane. So you really have to know, for this question, sangat penting untuk awak tahu perbezaan mekanisme antara lipid soluble hormone and water soluble hormone. Kenapa dia lipid, kenapa dia water soluble? You have to know the mechanism. Okay? So saya nak you all please, I know towards the end of the semester you have so many assignment to do, so many lab reports, so many presentation to prepare, but please do your revision as well. Okay? Okay, so Thank you tadi Razin. So Razin tak payah jawab soalan dah, unless kena cycle sebab you dah jawab juga. Okay, so next 21 Raja.
Tentuan madam.
21. Page 21.
Vagus shows and adrenal gland.
Hmm.
How does the part level L work in response to exercise? A. Secretes epinephrine, which increases the heart rate.
Region L is what? What is region L? The gland is adrenal gland. Okay. The gland is adrenal gland. The adrenal gland has two region. The K region and the L region. L region tu apa yang responsible untuk menghasilkan, bukan menghasilkan, untuk secrete the hormone epinephrine. What is region L?
Adrenal medulla.
Adrenal medulla. Okay. What is K? Region K, region apa?
Adrenal cortex.
Adrenal cortex. Adrenal gland.
Cortex.
Okay. You have to know the region of adrenal gland and also you have to know the region of adrenal gland, which is yang lapisan luar, the outer region is the adrenal cortex, which responsible to produce and secrete the hormone cortisol. Ada dua jenis kortisol yang dihasilkan kat sini, which is mineralocorticoids and glucocorticoids. Okay, so please refer to your notes on the function of these two hormone. Apa fungsi mineralocorticoids and glucocorticoids? Kalau L adalah medulla region. The medulla region is responsible for secreting the hormone epinephrine and norepinephrine in the state of fight and flight. Okay. So dalam keadaan yang instant, you need instant energy, okay, to react. So that is epinephrine. So kalau awak tengok adrenal gland ni, sebab dia ada dua region kat situ, dia lebih kurang persamaan dia dengan macam mana pituitary gland works. Pituitary gland dia ada dua region kan, anterior and also posterior. Perbezaan antara anterior dengan posterior, the anterior pituitary, okay, is capable of producing and secreting its own enzyme because it is made up of endothelial cell. So it can produce and secrete its own hormone. But sama juga dengan adrenal cortex, dia menghasilkan dan mengeluarkan secrete, okay, it secretes its own hormone, okay. But adrenal medulla sama juga dengan posterior pituitary, it secretes the hormone produced by another gland. Kalau posterior pituitary, dia secrete hormone such as, for example, ADH and also oxytocin, which is initially produced in the cell body of neuron that is in the hypothalamus. So, but the neuron will extend into the posterior. Okay, so dia punya axon terminal tu dia akan masuk kepada posterior pituitary. So the posterior pituitary only secrete the hormone ADH and oxytocin. It does not produce these two hormone. Sama juga dengan adrenal medulla. Epinephrine ni tidak dihasilkan oleh adrenal medulla, tapi dia hanya secrete the hormone. So if you look at your notes, kan, so you will observe the difference. Okay, So in this slide, so the adrenal medulla kan, kedua-dua region of adrenal medulla, adrenal gland, kedua-dua region of adrenal gland, which is medulla and cortex, kedua-dua hormon ni it produces hormone in response to stress, the condition where you need the body needs to produce more energy, for example. Okay, so kat sini if you look at this diagram, okay, so you have the adrenal medulla, which is the inner part of the adrenal gland. So dia hanya secretes, dia tak tulis produce and secrete. It says here secrete epinephrine and norepinephrine, because if you observe the neuron that extend into the adrenal medulla is from the spinal cord here. Kan? So if you observe, sama juga dengan kalau tengok kan, kalau adrenal cortex sebenarnya kat sini kan dia produce and secrete its own hormone. Ada tak dimention dalam anywhere in the slide? Nampak ni, synthesize and release. Okay, synthesize adrenal cortex, synthesize and release corticosteroid hormones, cortisol and aldosterone, for example. Okay, so medulla hanya secrete epinephrine and norepinephrine, because initially it functions as both hormone and neurotransmitter, which is this molecule is produced in the cell body that is initially, if you look at the diagram, it is the neuron that is in the spinal cord. Okay, macam tu. Okay. So you check sama ada macam itulah. Okay, so the response is from the hypothalamus. So the neurons in the hypothalamus will send impulse, okay, through the neurons in the spinal cord, from the spinal cords to the neuron that extend into the adrenal medulla. So that's why the response is rapid. Kan, terkejut, you need instant energy. Kan, your heart is beating fast, you are breathing deeply, contohnya kan. So that is it requires an instant response. So that is the role of adrenal medulla. Tapi kalau cortex juga untuk respon, menghasilkan hormon untuk respon kepada stres. Tapi stres tu dia berlaku dalam jangka masa yang panjang. Macam tu contohnya kan, glucocorticoids. It converts protein and also fat into glucose. Glucose adalah fuel untuk cellular respiration, right? Okay. So it means that, for example, if you are not eating for a long time, you are in a stress condition, you are not eating, you don't take carbo, for example. Okay. So your body needs another source of energy, which is this time, instead of it breaks down, for example, glycogen, which is stored in the liver. So it breaks down protein in the muscle, for example, or fats in the adipose tissue, for example. Okay, so the protein and the fats will be converted into glucose to feed for cellular respiration, for the body to generate energy, contohnya. Okay, so that is the function of adrenal gland that you have to know. The difference between the region adrenal medulla and also cortex, dia lebih kurang sama dengan macam mana pituitary gland works. Dia ada juga dua region kan. Region posterior, it consists of neuron that extend into the posterior, from the hypothalamus into the posterior, but the anterior pituitary, it is made up of endocrine cell that is capable of producing and secreting its own hormone. So lebih kurang sama lah. Okay. Kalau tengok kan, kalau posterior pituitary, kenapa dia menghasilkan hormone that is released from the neuron in the hypothalamus that extend into the posterior pituitary? Tengok hormon yang dihasilkan, oxytocin dengan ADH. Kan, oxytocin and ADH. Bila masa oxytocin dihasilkan dan diriliskan? Semasa contohnya labor. Okay, giving birth, that causes the contraction of uterus. So the brain will send the information straight to the posterior pituitary to release the hormone oxytocin that will travel in the blood, that reaches the uterus to cause the uterus to contract. So tapi kalau dia nak tunggu anterior pituitary untuk menghasilkan and then secrete balik semula, so it takes time. Faham tak? Okay, sama juga dengan oxytocin. Another function of oxytocin is for lactation. Okay, that causes the ejection of milk. Okay, from the breast. So ADH sama juga. ADH is antidiuretic hormones. Antidiuretic hormones, the target organ is the kidney. Okay, that causes the increased reabsorption of water that leads to the production of concentrated urine. Okay, because your body is reabsorb more water in the kidney. Okay, so you have to know all these glands and also the hormone produced by the glands. You have to know the function of each of the hormone. So for the hormone part, I know you need more effort in memorizing and understanding all these hormone, all these organs. Okay, so macam tu lah. So please, I need you to do your revision. Boleh? Faham?
Faham, madam.
Okay. So kalau B ni salah. Sebab apa? Secretes epinephrine which increase metabolic rate sepatutnya. Kalau C, secrete cortisol which retains sodium ions and water in the kidney. So yang ini walaupun betul tapi it does not explain on the role of L which is medulla. So ini lebih kepada K, the cortex region. Statement C ni. Statement D, secrete cortisol which promotes synthesis of glucose from protein and fats. Ini pun betul tapi dia refer kepada region K which is the production of the hormone glucocorticoids. Kan? So K ni cortex untuk menghasilkan glucocorticoids which is responsible to convert protein and fat into glucose. Okay. So awak kena tahu kenapa statement ni salah. Betul ke? Kan you have to know the reason behind why you choose your answer. Okay. So number bukan sekadar jawab je. Okay. You have to know. So question number 22, Raihana.
For 22, what is the function of the dendrites? C. Receive stimulus and send signals to the cell body. Dendrites ni you can find it at the end of the cell body. They are part of the neuron process.
Okay, so boleh lah. Dia bukan dekat end kan of cell body, dia adalah beginning. You have the dendrites kan, and then you have the cell body.
Dia
Okay,
bukan cabang-cabang cell body tu ke?
dia cabang-cabang tapi bukan end kan. Dia beginning of a neuron. Right? Kan? Right? Sebab dekat dendrite ada ligand gated channel. Ligand gated channel is the protein channel that is located on the plasma of dendrite of a neuron that function to bind to neurotransmitter. Yang neurotransmitter tu diriliskan oleh neuron yang sebelumnya. Okay, neuron yang sebelumnya akan release neurotransmitter ke dalam synaptic cleft dan the neurotransmitter akan bind kepada ligand gated channel and causes the channel to open and causes ion to enter into this neuron in order for this neuron to be able to receive and generate action potential. Faham? Okay, so act as electrical insulator, ini salah lah kan. Statement B and A ni dia refer kepada apa? Myelin sheath. Act as electrical insulator, speed up the transmission of nerve impulses adalah myelin sheath that wraps the axon of a neuron. Okay, and then kalau D conduct signal away from the cell body to another neuron, this one is referring to axon. Okay, not dendrite. Okay, so Raihana, thank you. 23. Nur Syahira. Syahira?
Yeah, leader.
Okay.
For question 23, which of the following happens when neurotransmitter are taken up by presynaptic neuron? My answer is B. Neurotransmitter signaling is terminated.
Apa yang awak boleh explain daripada soalan 23 ni? Apa yang awak faham sebenarnya dia nak cakap?
Saya pun macam tak faham. Saya just fikir kalau dia tak ambil tu nanti dia accumulate dekat presynaptic cleft tu.
Betul lah tu. So kalau the accumulation of a neurotransmitter, apa akan jadi? If neurotransmitter accumulate at the synaptic cleft, okay, and causes the ligand gated channel to continuously open, so what happened to the transmission of impulse? Dia akan sentiasa berlaku. The transmission of impulse from one neuron to another neuron to another neuron, dia hanya akan berlaku bila ada stimulus yang memerlukan badan awak tindak balas pada stimulus tu. Tapi tak boleh berlaku seterusnya sepanjang-panjang masa. So the neurotransmitter the function of the neurotransmitter needs to be terminated dengan cara it is taken up by the presynaptic neuron balik semula. If you refer to your notes, dekat bahagian sini. Ni, slide ni, 87. Okay, so ini yang saya cakap tadi, ini adalah plasma membrane yang kat sini. Plasma membrane of dendrite of, kita ada dua jenis neuron berdasarkan kepada arah impulse tu travel. Kita ada presynaptic neuron, kita ada postsynaptic neuron. Presynaptic neuron is the neuron transmitting the impulse. Okay, postsynaptic neuron is the neuron receiving the impulse. Okay, so pre dulu lepas baru post. Kan, tapi post akan jadi pre lah, faham tak? Okay, so pre and post. So kalau if you look at this diagram, okay, this is the presynaptic neuron kan. Presynaptic neuron is transmitting impulse to the next neuron, the postsynaptic neuron. Cara apa tu impulse sebenarnya? Impulse terhasil disebabkan oleh ada pergerakan ion sodium and potassium keluar masuk daripada sel dan menyebabkan membrane of the cell berubah dia punya voltage kan, daripada negative to become less negative to become positive. That is action potential disebabkan oleh sebenarnya pergerakan ion keluar masuk daripada membrane. Faham? Okay, membrane of the neuron. Okay, so apa fungsi neurotransmitter? Fungsi neurotransmitter ni, which is released by the presynaptic neuron, it binds to receptor, okay, to a receptor. This receptor, we call it as ligand-gated ion channel. The binding of this neurotransmitter to ligand-gated ion channel, it causes the protein, because it is ion channel, so the ion channel will open up, okay, and then causes ion to be able to enter into the postsynaptic neuron, causing the postsynaptic neuron to be able to generate and transmit impulse juga. Okay, tapi the transmission of impulse tak boleh sentiasa berlaku. Macam contohnya, the transmission of impulse from one neuron to another neuron until it reaches your muscle cell and causes your muscle tissue to contract. But if continuous transmission of impulse to a muscle cell, it causes your muscle cell to continuously contract. Do you want that? Nak ke? Sentiasa jadi kejang lah kat situ, faham tak? So this neurotransmitter needs to be removed. So cara dia macam mana? Nanti akan ada satu enzyme that function to break down the neurotransmitter, can break down, ataupun the neurotransmitter is taken back by the presynaptic neuron and package balik semula into vesicle. Faham? So this will close the ligand gated channel and prevents the entrance of ion in the neuron. So this is basically to stop the transmission of impulse. Faham ke? Itu tajuk termination of neurotransmitter. If you look at your soalan tadi, kan? So which of the following happen when neurotransmitter are taken up by neurotransmitter? So it causes neurotransmitter signaling to be terminated. Berhentilah, kan? So this will stop the transmission of impulse to the next neuron. Alright? Faham Boleh ke? Can you all pick up my explanation? Okay, so next, Shazliana, 24.
24. Ligand-gated ion channel is C. Important in synaptic transmission.
So, what can you explain? Apa yang awak faham pasal soalan ni?
Sebenarnya saya confused A atau C, tapi saya rasa C sebab B tu salah sebab dia involve in graded potential. D tu salah sebab D tu dia sodium potassium pump and sodium potassium lead channel. Saya rasa C sebab ligand gated ion channel ada dekat postsynaptic membrane.
Dekat mana tadi? Saya dah explain dah tadi. Dekat mana? To be specific, it is located at the dendrite, kan? So the function of ligand gated is to bind to. Dia akan ada apa? The ligand gated channel is located at the membrane of postsynaptic neuron, which is located at the dendrite. Okay, so it binds to the neurotransmitter, causing, sebab nama dia ion channel juga, causing the protein channel to open and causes ion to enter, okay, into pose. So basically, ligand gated channel, it binds to neurotransmitter. The ion channel open, causes ion such as sodium ion to enter into the next neuron, so that this neuron can generate and transmit impulse. Okay, the next impulse. Kalau found along axon memang tak ada lah, sebab ligand gated channel is not found along the axon. Yang the channel that are found along the axon are voltage gated channel. Okay, voltage gated channel which is located at the nodes of Ranvier. Kan fungsi dia bila voltage gated channel open, so dia akan menyebabkan ion keluar masuk dan menghasilkan action potential. Okay. yang D tu tadi betul lah untuk explanation awak, dia melibatkan sodium potassium pump, leak ion channel, and another one is the presence of fixed anions, okay, large macromolecules that are negatively charged that maintains inside the axon, causing the resting potential to be maintained at negative 70 millivolts. Okay, so resting potential value dia tengok negatif, kan? So negative 70. Macam mana nak maintain value negative 70 ni? Dengan 3 faktor tu tadi. Okay, 3 faktor tu tadi. Okay, the 3 factors. Okay, so thank you Shazliana. Okay, so 25, Natasha.
Question 25. Which of the following is a tropic hormone? My answer is D, follicle stimulating hormone. Sebab tropic hormone tu hormone that stimulates an
Putus lah, tapi tak apa. I got your point kat situ. Okay, tropic hormone are basically hormone that causes another gland, okay, another endocrine gland to produce or secretes another hormones. Macam contohnya follicle stimulating hormone, which is produced by the anterior pituitary. It travels along your blood until it reaches the target organ, which is the gonad. Gonad adalah organ yang menghasilkan gametes. So sama ada kalau lelaki FSH trigger the testes, okay, testis, and then kalau perempuan dia akan pergi kepada ovary. Okay, so kalau follicle stimulating hormone pergi kepada ovary, it causes the ovary to produce another hormone which is estrogen. Okay, estrogen, and causes the estrogen to go to the next target organ. Tapi estrogen bukan trophic hormone sebab it affects the straight kepada uterus, causing the uterus to stimulate the thickening of endometrium lining. So trophic hormone is a hormone. Basically, it triggers another endocrine gland to produce another hormones. Okay, so kalau prolactin, it is also produced by the anterior pituitary, tapi dia pergi straight kepada mammary gland to produce milk. So dia tak ada effects trophic tu. Oxytocin pun sama juga. Also produced by the anterior pituitary, but it goes straight to the target organ, such as also the mammary gland, for example, causing the ejection of milk. Prolactin and oxytocin, target organ dia sama, mammary gland, mammary gland. But for prolactin, produce milk, dah menghasilkan milk, kena dikeluarkan. So the ejection of the milk is by the oxytocin. Okay, contohnya. So ADH bukan trophic hormone lah, sebab dia disekretkan oleh posterior pituitary, go straight to the kidney, causing more reabsorption of water. Okay, so itulah dia. So you have to know the definition of trophic hormone. Okay, so 26. Thank you, Natasha. Next is Najwa.
26. Which of the following act as both a hormone and a neurotransmitter? My answer is D, norepinephrine. Because norepinephrine, it increases blood glucose, increase metabolic activities, and constrict certain blood vessels. And then it also one of the major neurotransmitter, which is biogenic amines.
Okay. Biogenic amines. Mana awak dapat yang tu? Dia kat last slide kan?
Dia ada table.
So group under sebab norepinephrine dia adalah amines kan? Amines. Kalau tengok kat table hormon tadi, kan? So dia adalah amines, biogenic amines. Dia ada amines lah kan? So amine ni adalah dari sejenis amino acid yang be modified. Okay, so amino acid yang undergo modification lah to become the hormone. Okay. Okay, so thank you, Najwa. 27, Nabila, please. Nabila Huda. Okay, your answer will be what for 27? C, So we look at the question. When blood calcium level falls below the normal set point. The normal set point for calcium, okay, in the blood is 10 milligram per 100 ml of blood. So value ni awak tak payah tahulah, cuma you have to know, okay, calcium dia ada set point dia. Okay, so 10 milligram per 100 ml of blood. So if the calcium level increases, okay, so this will trigger the calcitonin hormone to be released. Okay, calcitonin hormone is released from the thyroid gland. Okay, thyroid gland. So thyroid gland terletak dekat dengan trachea lah. Okay, so statement A dengan B ni dia explain on the function of calcitonin actually produced by the thyroid gland. Calcitonin inhibit calcium uptake in the kidney. Calcitonin stimulate calcium deposition in the bone. So inhibit calcium uptake, dengan stimulate calcium deposition in the bone is due to initially that the calcium level increase. So they need to decrease back to the normal set point. So A dengan B is by the calcitonin hormone. Tinggi, dia nak rendahkan balik. Tapi the question for this one, if the calcium level falls. So kalau false, dia adalah tindak balas ditindakkan oleh hormon PTH, parathyroid hormone. Parathyroid hormone is located at the surface of the thyroid gland. So if you look at your notes, okay. So thyroid gland, dekat permukaan thyroid gland ni ada parathyroid gland. Okay, so C lah, parathyroid hormone, PTH stimulate the release of calcium from the bone. They decrease kan, kena increase kan balik. So your bone consists of calcium. So the calcium, this will cause the release of more calcium from the bone and into the blood, increasing the blood calcium level back to the normal set point. And also another effects of PTH hormone apart from the stimulate calcium release, the other one is it increase calcium uptake from the bone. Itu sama point dengan release kan. So increase calcium uptake from the bone and also increase calcium uptake in the intestine. Okay, in the intestine. So kalau kita tengok kat sini, bukan bone ni sebenarnya, increase calcium uptake from the kidney. Kita check balik ni slide ni ni. Okay, stimulate calcium release from the bone, stimulate calcium uptake in the kidney, reabsorb lah, can reabsorb back into your blood circulation, and also increase calcium uptake in the intestine. So if calcium level drops, so dia akan increasekan balik. So this is done by the PTH hormone. So you have to know the mechanism of how calcium blood calcium level is regulated by these two hormone, calcitonin and also PTH. Okay. Okay, so 28, please.
For 28, figure 4 shows a myelinated axon. So which of the following is correct? The answer is A. Saltatory conduction occurs at E, which is E is nodes of Ranvier. At nodes of Ranvier, the action potential can lead from one node of Ranvier to the next nodes.
Okay, so that is saltatory conduction. Saltatory conduction adalah yang mana terhasilnya action potential dekat every nodes of Ranvier. Okay, kenapa boleh terhasilnya action potential dekat nodes of Ranvier? Sebab hanya dekat nodes of Ranvier ni akan ada voltage gated channel for sodium ion and potassium ion. Yang mana is wrapped by the myelin sheath, there will be no voltage gated channel. So that's why myelin sheath, it acts as electrical insulator. Sebab yang mana ada myelin sheath, takkan ada voltage gated channel, takkan ada ion keluar masuk, takkan ada perubahan, takkan ada generation of action potential lah kat situ, faham? Only at the nodes of Ranvier, because due to the presence of voltage gated channels that allows sodium ion and potassium ion to move in and out in the process of generating the action potential, which is the saltatory conduction. Okay. Okay, so action potential tadi awak guna perkataan leap kan? Dia sebenarnya bukan action potential tu literally jump. Dia sebenarnya dia nampak macam leap, sebab tu dia letak dalam quote dalam punya nota tu kan. Okay, so the generation of action potential is due to the movement of ions that causes the membrane to change its voltage daripada negatif jadi positif. Kan. Okay. So 29, so thank you Janatul. Alice.
29. In the mechanism of action for lipid soluble hormone, the hormone receptor complex C activates gene to allow transcription and translation to occur. because B and D refers to water-soluble hormone, and A is adenylyl cyclase, which will convert the CM from ATP. So C is the answer. It will produce protein that will be used to alter the activity of cell.
Okay. So betul lah. So kan, so C ni untuk lipid soluble hormone. A, B dengan D adalah untuk water soluble hormone. Okay. A, B and D adalah untuk water soluble hormone. So please tengok balik mechanism of lipid and water soluble hormone. So thank you Alice. Alia, kita try habiskan boleh 30.
Number 30, figure 5 shows a graph of an action potential at which phase are voltage gated and A plus channel closed but some voltage gated K plus channel is still open. The answer is D. K.
Kenapa?
Sebab K tu hyperpolarization. Kalau yang A tu H related resting state, all gated and A plus and K plus channel are closed. Kalau yang B tu depolarization and A plus channels yang open. Kalau J repolarization and A plus channels are inactivating, K plus channels are open.
Okay. Kalau awak cakap bukan sama ke macam statement kalau okay, C ataupun J ni adalah repolarization kan. So awak tengok kat statement soalan tu. Voltage gated channel close. Voltage gated potassium open. Tak sama ke dengan hyperpolarization? So apa beza hyperpolarization dengan repolarization?
Kalau repolarization tu Na plus dia baru nak tutup, dia begin to close.
Hyperpolarization
Repolarization
begins to close.
hmm.
Dia bukan begin to close, dia dah close dah. Reach 30 millivolts, it causes the all the voltage gated sodium to close. Dia bukan begin to close, dia close je. Automatic close and macam tu. Kalau tengok kat sini, sebenarnya keyword dia kan kat sini, some voltage gated potassium ion channel still open. Kenapa perkataan some tu digunakan? Okay. Kalau C, kita adalah repolarization kan. So repolarization, potassium move out. And there's no movement of sodium. Sebab sodium tutup. Okay. Bila voltage gated ion channel for potassium open, potassium will move out. Awak tengok value dia daripada positive 30 millivolt, it starts to decrease. Kan decrease secara rapid. Sebab dia akan trigger the opening of more voltage gated potassium, more potassium move out. Sampai value of the action potential reaches negative 70. Bila reaches negative 70, patutnya dia dah reach resting potential kan, tapi dia still turun lagi. Sebab apa? Sebab the characteristics of potassium voltage gated channel, dia close slowly. Okay, close slowly. So bila reach the value of negative 70, so the voltage gated channel for potassium will start to close but slowly, causing some of the voltage gated channel of the potassium to remain open and causes the release of more potassium from the axon into the interstitial fluid, causing the membrane potential to drop even further down. Okay, daripada negative 70 sampai the reach value negative 90 millivolt. Okay, so region ni adalah hyperpolarization disebabkan oleh adanya still voltage gated channel for potassium still open, causing the release of still potassium into the interstitial fluid from the axon. So tapi bila dah reach negative 90 millivolts, dah maximum, baru pada point ni all the voltage gated channel for potassium close. Okay, so baru dia akan naik balik kepada resting potential. Faham tak? So keyword kat sini adalah some ni, yang membezakan antara repolarization dengan hyperpolarization disebabkan oleh ciri potassium voltage gated channel, it closes slowly. Still ada yang potassium manage to slip out. Faham tak?
Faham, madam.
Okay, so thank you Alia. Muhammad. Number 31.
Yes, madam.
Okay, can you do 31 please?
What is the function of hormone prolactin in female human? I answer A. Stimulates milk production.
Okay, betul. Sebab dia punya target organ dia adalah kat mana? Prolactin? In the? Cepat. Nak go 10 dah ni. Prolactin is produced by the anterior pituitary, released into your blood circulation, reaches the target organ kat mana? Milk. Kat mana hasilnya milk? Apa target tissue dia? Cepat. Nah, so kita kena habiskan ni. Mammary gland. Okay. Mammary gland. Mammary gland produce and secretes the milk. Producing the milk is by the prolactin. Ejecting the milk is by the oxytocin. Please remember. Okay. So thank you Raja and also Muhammad. So please do your revision masing-masing. Fakri, number 23. Sorry, 33. 32, sorry.
32. Which of the following is not a tropic hormone? The answer is D. MSH.
MSH adalah apa? Melanocyte stimulating hormone. Melanocyte stimulating hormone is the hormone produced by the anterior pituitary, and it also can be produced by the skin. Okay, and also what I read by the hypothalamus as well. So MSH adalah melanocyte stimulating hormone. What is melanocyte? Your pigment, your skin pigment. Okay, your skin pigment. So the function of this pigment is to protect your body from UV light lah. If you're exposed to UV light from the sun, so it triggers the production of pigment that protects your body from the UV light. Okay, so this pigment can also be found in your hair and also in your eyes. Okay, the pigment that color your eyes. Okay, so 33. Next, siapa? Amin. Muhammad Amin.
Which of the following describe parathyroid hormone? The answer is C. Increase blood calcium level. Because A, derived from cholesterol, is actually steroid hormone. B, increased metabolic activities is thyroid hormone. And C, released from the anterior parotid gland is we release LH hormone and FSH.
Okay lah. So boleh lah. Okay. So describe parathyroid yang kita dah tengok tadi kan lah. So when blood calcium level decrease, untuk increasekan balik is by the parathyroid hormone. Okay ha. So next siapa? Amin juga. 34.
Question 34. Match the following hormones to their respective function. GH number 2 stimulate growth and metabolic function. ADH number 1 produce concentrated urine, and HCTH is number 3 stimulates adrenal cortex to secrete glucocorticoid. So the answer is C.
Okay, so betul. Okay, so thank you Amin. 35. Lepas Amin siapa? Adif.
Figure 6 shows change in membrane potential of neuron during transmission of impulse. Identify which letter indicates when sodium ion channel begin to close and potassium ion channel open. C.
Okay, C. Itu stage apa? Phase apa?
Repolarization.
Repolarization kalau potassium voltage cathode channel open, apa jadi kat potassium?
Potassium will diffuse out.
Diffuse out. So ingat pergerakan ion sodium and potassium ion ni, walaupun dia terlibat dalam penghasilan voltage kan, action potential, nampak dia macam energy kan, dia adalah energy lah kan, membrane potential, tapi pergerakan ion tu adalah through facilitated diffusion. Ingat facilitated diffusion. Voltage gated channel adalah sejenis ion channel, so dia terlibat dalam proses facilitated diffusion. Pergerakan ion tu adalah through diffusion actually. Okay. So tadi yang soalan tadi yang betul lah cakap dia ni pun dia guna perkataan begin So okay lah, kita terima tadi kan yang soalan kat sini tadi. Okay lah. So reach positive 30, so voltage gated for sodium begins to close and potassium open. Okay. So 36 Jasrin. Lagi 2 soalan cepat. Jawapan awak B. Mic awak rosak ke? Saltatory conduction refers to conduction of action potential along the myelinated axon. Okay. Bukan salah, bukan A. B. Action potential along the myelinated axon. So the generation of impulse it only occurs at the nodes of Ranvier. So that is saltatory conduction. So nampak macam leaping. Okay. The last one question. Hannah Sophia.
Which of the following differences between hormone and nervous system is not correctly matched? A. Because I know that the nervous system responds to stimuli by sending electrical action potential in the neuron. So we can see that the neuron that transmit the action potential to the target cell using neurotransmitter. So we can see that the response is instant, is localized and more precise.
Okay. So kalau endocrine, it is more widespread kan? More widespread. Hormon dihasilkan oleh sesuatu gland, travel in your blood circulation, dia akan reach the target organs kan, the target organ. So the target organ can be several target organ. So that is why it is more widespread. Contohnya growth hormone. Okay. Tapi kalau nervous system, from one neuron straight to another neuron, so it is more precise, localized. Okay, yang lain tu betul lah. Dan C, B and D tu it differentiate correctly between the endocrine and the nervous system. So nampak tak? Sebab kalau endocrine ni, the speed of transmission is slow. Sebab apa? Dia nak kena travel in your blood circulation until it reaches the target organ. So berbanding dengan nervous system, it is fast, precise kan? From one neuron to another neuron, or until it reaches the target muscle cell or gland. Okay. So that's the end of our discussion. Okay, so I guess we can stop our